She smiled and said, "Just tonight," but my chest tightened, because somehow I already knew this was goodbye. Some endings don't arrive loudly. They whisper, and you don't realize you heard them until it's too late. She said it so casually, almost kindly. "Just tonight." Her voice didn't shake. Mine didn't either. But something inside me leaned back, like it had just seen a crack forming in a wall it trusted. I was to adopt quiet by nature, the kind of person who notices pauses more than words. I noticed how she didn't look at me when she said it, how her fingers stayed wrapped around her coffee mug, like it was the only thing keeping her steady. She was 30.com, collected, emotionally guarded in a way that felt practiced. Her long black hair fell over one shoulder, and when she moved it back, I saw the freckles on her cheek, soft, human details that made the distance between us feel so cruel. The room felt smaller that night, not because we were close, but because something invisible had entered. We had a history made of small moments, late conversations, shared silences, the kind of connection that never announces itself, but slowly becomes part of your breathing. So when she said "just tonight," my mind replayed it again and again. Not the words, but the space around them. I nodded, smiled, did what people do when they don't want to scare away what's already slipping through their fingers. But inside, I was listening to something else, a quiet alarm. She sat beside me, but not into me. Her shoulder barely touched mine. When it did, she pulled away a second too fast, like she remembered something she wasn't supposed to forget. I wanted to ask her what tonight meant. I didn't. I wanted to ask her if there would be another. I didn't. Silence became our agreement. That night didn't feel special. That's what made it so terrifying. When someone begins to leave, they don't walk away first. They stop arriving. The night moved slowly to slowly. We talked about ordinary things. Work. Random memories. Things that didn't require honesty. She laughed at all the right moments, but her eyes stayed elsewhere, focused on nothing, like she was already replaying this moment from the future. I noticed everything. The way she checked her phone but didn't unlock it. The way she crossed her arms when I leaned in. The way her MMHMM replaced real answers. I kept my voice steady, lower than usual, calm. I didn't want to be the reason the mood broke. At one point, she stood near the window. City lights reflected softly in the glass, outlining her shape. She looked beautiful in a distant way, like something you admire because you know you can touch it. I stood behind her, not close enough to feel warm, just close enough to feel the space. She didn't turn around. That hurt more than if she had. There were so many moments where words waited on my tongue. Heavy ones, dangerous ones. But I swallowed them because I was afraid of the answers. Sometimes love isn't about what you feel. It's about what you're afraid to hear. When she finally sat back down, she kept her hands folded in her lap, like a guest, not someone who belonged there anymore. And that's when it hit me. I wasn't losing her suddenly. I was watching her slowly choose distance. The most painful lies are the ones we help tell. She smiled again, softer this time. "I'm glad we did this," she said. Did what? Spent time together, pretended everything was okay? Delayed something she had already decided? I nodded anyway. My heart wanted to believe that just tonight meant something gentle, something temporary, something safe. I told myself she was just tired, just overwhelmed, just guarding herself. But deep down, another thought kept rising. What if tonight wasn't about being together, but about easing away? She stood up to leave earlier than usual. No rush, no drama, just readiness. At the door, she hesitated. For a second, I thought she might say it. The truth, the thing we were both avoiding. Instead, she said, "Take care, okay?" That was the moment, because people who plan to stay don't say goodbye like that. I watched her walk away, and something inside me went quiet, not broken. Not yet, just aware. Some realizations arrive late and change everything before them. Days passed, then more. No messages, no explanations, no conflict to blame, and then I understood. Just tonight wasn't a boundary. It was preparation. She wasn't deciding if she would leave. She was deciding. How gently. Every guarded smile, every step back, every avoided question, it was all mercy, not confusion. She had already left emotionally. That night was her way of not disappearing suddenly, and I hated myself for appreciating the kindness in it. Sometimes the absence hurts less than the unanswered questions it leaves behind. I replayed everything, over and over. Not the big moments, the small ones. The way she didn't lean in, the way her voice stayed calm, the way she never promised anything. She never lied to me. She just didn't tell me the whole truth. And maybe that was the kindest thing she knew how to do. Some endings teach you something you weren't ready to learn. I realized something painful. She wasn't afraid of losing me. She was afraid of staying and feeling more. And I realized something worse. I would have stayed through the pain. She wouldn't. Love didn't end us. Timing did. Not all goodbyes close doors. Some live quietly inside you. Even now, when someone says just tonight, my chest tightens. Not because of her, but because I learned how endings sound before they arrive. And sometimes, you hear them. You just hope you're wrong. If this felt real to you, if you've ever noticed the silence before the words, you're not alone. Tell your story in the comments. Someone out there needs to hear it. Thanks for listening.